Hey guys, what's up? RossDunneIE. I haven't done a video in a while. That's mostly just because I'm a hot, shitty mess of consistent inconsistency. That's just who I am. Um, Ideally, I'd like to get back to doing this. I had some pretty serious illness in the new year, and I kind of just let this whole thing get away from me, which hopefully I really shouldn't have done. This is kind of a bit of a follow-up video to the Dave Rubin video I did a while back, when Dave Rubin quit the Young Turks, and moved on to create his own show, which I think he's using Larry King's old studio or new studio. I'm not even sure. But that video has gotten quite popular. It's actually one of my earlier videos, and there's been a lot of sort of commenting on it. Most of it just seems to be the fact that I kept using Cenk Uyghur's name as Senk. For some reason, for the longest time, I kept thinking his name was Senk. It's Cenk. My bad, my mistake. I think I knew at the time that his name was Cenk as well, and not Senk. But to follow up on my original thoughts about that, and I was initially very happy with Dave Rubin and the direction that he was taking his show, and because he was looking to see if he could find voices from the other side of the aisle and let them speak. Initially, I was okay with that, because he sort of set the format out in such a way that he was going to hash it out with people. Subsequently, I feel that he's failed to do that. I feel that Dave Rubin has effectively failed to have these people on his show and then challenge their worldviews. He might ask them a softball question, but come on, you don't really believe that, do you? And then they'll double down and go, yes, I absolutely do believe that. For a lot of these sorts of people in the alt-right anti-regressive movement, very often and more often than not, I'm finding a broken clock is right twice a day kind of a thing with them. They tag on a few things that are correct realistically because they're inherently liberal values such as free expression, freedom of speech, etc. Those things are perfectly fine, and I, like anyone else, believe in them as concepts, but then they use those tools to espouse realistically what is truthfully regressive content, even though we're kind of supposed to be challenging the regressive left. We find people like Steven Crowder, Milo Yiannopoulos, etc. are spouting ultimately regressive content. They're using more liberal means of delivery, by fighting for what they believe is a righteous cause, but ultimately delivering regression. This kind of came to a head, in my opinion, with this confrontation we're seeing between Steven Crowder and Trigglypuff, as this person's being called. Don't think that was anything more than a meltdown. It's being tagged as a brutal ownage online, but it's not. It was Steven Crowder having a fucking meltdown and throwing a temper tantrum because people in his audience were also throwing temper tantrums. I get it. I get that he got pissed and lost his fucking mind over it, but as I said, in my estimation, he just had a fucking meltdown. That's all he fucking did. But back to Dave Rubin, I don't feel that his show is actually doing what he initially set out to do. It was like, he's a progressive liberal on most subjects, and we'll say on all of them. I wouldn't tag him and take away the label of progressive liberal from him, who has decided to give a voice to what you would call his ideological or political opponents, and it's actually just become a platform for them to talk shit now. Christina Hoff Sommers is obviously not the worst person in the world. I understand where she comes from on a lot of issues, and she's not necessarily wrong a lot of the time, but I'm definitely finding that people like Milo Yiannopoulos and Steven Crowder, their arguments are shares from your aunt, when on par with like military or ambulance workers complaining that, well, how can fast food workers earn $15 an hour when I only earn $12.80 an hour, etc. Those are terrible, batshit, stupid ass motherfucking things to say. And if you're sharing that content or in favor of that content, you might be a fucking idiot too. There's no reason that we shouldn't also compensate important personnel for important work. Nobody is saying they shouldn't or they shouldn't be compensated for it, but I don't know how we've twisted this thing where we're somehow in favor of regressive concepts now because social justice warriors have annoyed us. I get it. So just to wrap up from my fucking wandering tangent of a fucking rant here, I don't feel Dave Rubin is actually doing what he said he was going to do with his show. Not particularly impressed with it. In fact, I generally don't watch it anymore. I think the people that he has on the show more recently, he's not challenging them on their viewpoints. He's just giving them a platform to talk what is quite frankly 99.9% of the time straight up shit. A lot of them do this dog whistling shit where they're attacking a more extreme version of an ideology, but let's just lump in the rest of the ideology as well because it's easier to do that. So yeah, I'm to follow up on the Dave Rubin. I'm not happy with the show. I haven't been happy with it since at least in the last couple of months. And I understand Cenk Uyghur's name is pronounced Cenk Uyghur. Anyway, I might try and do a little bit more of this. Still recovering from illness and my voice is kind of shaky, as you can tell. So yeah, thanks for your time. This is Ross Dunn. Peace out.